other day. All right, listen up, gumshoes. Okay, so you guys know I invested a stim check and already told you what I did with some of it, what I did with $1,200 of it. So, in case you don't know, what I did was I opened. What's going on? What's going on, Polo? What I did was I opened a Morgan Stanley. Well, I went to Chase Bank and I opened an account at Chase Bank. All right. So I opened an account other than my other bank. I put the money into a totally different bank account and said, I'm going to invest the money off of this. This way it doesn't really touch, the money I have saved up. Although I'm eventually going to invest in some of that, a good portion of it actually. So one, I got a robo account. Two, I have another account where, which is my Roth IRA. I only have $240 in there, and I haven't picked any stocks yet. Although I know I'm pretty much going to, there's a couple stocks I'm going to pick and put in there because they pay dividends. Now, I was just going to, pick what sounds good, what everybody else was picking, but then I started getting into it, day and night and said, okay, well, let me look at other stocks instead of what everybody else is talking about, and let me take it from there. So I have a whole list here I scribbled down off of a YouTube video. One guy was talking about stocks that pay dividends. Now, some of these stocks I can't afford. Tesla, okay, let's start off with one of the biggest stocks I've ever seen. Just ridiculous. And that's Tesla. I don't really need these on right now. Tesla stock right now is $739.78 a share, and that's going to go up. Now, I'm just going to run off some of the stocks I've been looking at. Disney is $187.26. It's a good chance that's going to go up. But Tesla stock is definitely going to go up. And it's vacillating, but it's definitely going to go up. Disney stock's been around for the longest, so it's at $187.26. If you're going to buy Disney stock, buy it because it pays dividends. Okay? There is a Leary fund that I bought some stock, and it's $31.33 in, but it pays 8% dividends. 3M, I didn't buy 3M stock, but I forgot what the price is on it. Netflix stock it's $100 and some odd dollars. I'll look it up here in a minute. Apple's stock is $134 for Apple stock. And it also pays out dividends. All of these stocks I'm talking about pay out dividends. It pays out dividends. I forgot how much they pay out. Ford, I didn't think of buying Ford because I didn't think it was still a growing company. But you're not buying these stocks because the stock is growing. You're buying these stocks simply because they pay out dividends. Whether monthly, quarterly, annually, biannually, you're pretty much, if you hold the stock and then they go ahead and pay out a dividend, you're going to get some of that. So it's just a way of making money. Even though the stock might fall, you still, they still might pay out a dividend because that stock pretty much is going to go back up. Ford's stock is $29.95, which is very affordable. And so Apple, Ford, AT&T stock is $29.95. Okay, and they pay out 6% dividends. So once again, now if you go and look up these stocks, you will see that if you look it up for the day, the stock actually will be going down. They got it on Cash App, and that's a good route for you. Okay, so I just started today, even though today's Sunday. I just started buying stock on Cash App. I was gonna go there, but being that you brought it up, Polo, let's just go. Let's just take it from there, because I'm gonna do some illustration and everything. So I'll go ahead and open up my Cash App. I was gonna get there in a minute, but you can go there now. And okay, so go to my Cash App. The thing about my Cash App is I bought $50. Shoot, I need to pull up my bank accounts because I bought $250 worth of stock today, right? The market's not even open. And I already got a notice for my Coca-Cola stock. I'm like, they're not even trading right now. Like, what are you talking about? But I already got a notice for my Coca-Cola stock. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. So basically, let me go back. All right, I don't know how many of you guys use Cash App, but if you don't use Cash App, you should. So there is my Cash App. It's just, asking me if I'm going to send money. Boom, I'm not. But if you look at the bottom, it's asking you to buy Bitcoin and stocks and things along that line. So, or to say deposit, transfers, Bitcoin, and of course it has your account information for your account number, your routing number. You can't see my whole thing. That's why I don't really care about showing it. But also on this page it asks you to link your banks, but when you want to buy stocks, you go to this page here, and there are the stocks that they show. So there's a whole list of stocks there. Apple is down 25. Yes, but it still pays dividends. So there. So let's go to Apple. We'll start off there, because these are just a bunch of stocks that they show you, and they just, there's about 10 of them. So let's start with Apple. So you pick Apple, and it's right there in front of you. And Apple's down 25 cents. You're looking at yours just like I'm looking at mine. And so that's just for the day, right? Remember, this is Sunday, so they're not even trading today. You can look at it for a week, which you can see it vacillates, but it vacillates upwards, which is a good thing. You can look at it for a month, going upwards again. This is for people who don't have Cash Apps. You can look at it for a year. Once again, it's going upwards, and it tells you the percent, 93.79% upward. And then you can look at the whole thing, and that's what you want to see. It is going skyward. So yeah, it's down 25%, but it has risen, exponentially. So, I mean, if you're looking at just for today, it dropping 25%, that doesn't bother me. So the price also, so if you want to buy Apple, and this is on your Cash App, so they made it easy. So if you want to buy Apple, it tells you how much it costs to buy Apple. I don't know how good you guys can see that, but it tells you how much it costs to buy it, right? So it's $134.16 per share. Now, the good thing about this is, and you have to link your Cash App to your bank account. And the good thing about this is, say you didn't have $134 that you wanted to spend on an Apple share. You don't have to buy a whole share. You can say, I want to buy for, and then it gives you an assortment of numbers, 1 through 100. So it gives you 1, 10, 20, 50, 100, and 200. Now, the stock is $134, but let's just say you only want to spend $50 on it. Boom, you press 50, you're only going to get a certain percentage of a share. So you don't have to worry about being exact on the numbers, not unless that's just what you want to do. If you want a whole share, then you have to have $134.16 to get a whole share. All right. So, I mean, if you're looking at your $1,400 check, you can get, 13, but you can get about 12 shares if you put your whole check into into the stock market and said, I'm going to go ahead and get all Apple shares because Apple is going up, plus Apple pays dividends. So you're like, I got $1,400. You get yourself a Cash App and you say, boom, I'm going to put $1,400 in the bank and I'm going to buy $1,400 worth of Apple shares. You're going to come out with 12 whole shares and a percentage of the next share. So there that is. Also, remember, if you're going to mess around with stocks, remember that the stock market is volatile and the stocks are aggressive. So if you if your stimulus check is just, extra money, you don't really need it, but you want to see if you can get something out of it, go for it. You have your rainy day fund, plus you have 2 to 3 times your fixed cost. And I explained your fixed costs again. This is for you guys who haven't heard it or don't know. I'm just going to say it again. Your fixed cost should be, in my book, at least 2 times what it costs you for your monthly living. So let's just say it was $1,500 for you and yours to survive a month. This is what's coming out. This is your rent. This is your car payment. This is your insurance, so on and so forth. Light, gas, those are all fixed costs, no matter what, they're going to hit you. The cable bill, not so much, not unless you make it a fixed cost, because you can always turn off the cable bill. The phone bill, you need your phone, so we'll put that in fixed costs. But if push comes to shove and you have to turn your phone off, or at least one of them, because some of you have 2 or 3, depending on the household, you can cut a phone or 2 off. But nonetheless, your rent, you can't cut off. Okay, so there that is. So I use $1,500 because that's around where I'm at. And so you should at least have $3,000 sitting around somewhere that's easily accessible to you. Now, the reason why I say that is because when I say easily accessible, I mean that it's not in a Roth IRA, because you cannot go into your Roth IRA until your time constraint is up. In my case, I can't go into my Roth IRA until I am 59 years old, which is less than 5 years from now. But a lot of you guys are younger than me, so if you put money into your Roth IRA, you're not going to be able to touch it for a long time. So that's not what you want to do. If you get yourself a CD and you say, okay, well, I need that $1,400 that I just put into a CD for the next 4 years. Well, you can get it, but it's going to penalize you 20% in tax. You're going to get penalized for going in and getting that CD before the time limit was over. All right, so you can still get a hold of some of this money, but you'll lose money if you do it. Nonetheless, if you put your money into a robo account, which is an automated account that the investors of the bank, they play with that money and they invest that money where they see fit. But nonetheless, you can still go in and get that money without being punished except for taxes. And I don't think the taxes are that much. I'm not sure. But nonetheless, that money is accessible to you. You can get that money the next day if you need it. If you have a savings account, you can get that money. If you have a checking account, you can get that money. And or you have money sitting at home. So if the money that is easily accessible to you is $3,000 if you have a $1,500 fixed cost budget like I do, well, then you can take your stimulus check and say, you know what, I want to step out on chance. So this is where you say, okay, how much risk do I want to, have? So this is when you reach into your Cash App or other applications that are out there, Robinhood, Webull, Acorn. I have Acorn and I have Cash App. And you say, I want to buy some stocks, and or you want to buy some bonds, and or you want to buy both. So you want to be aggressive, moderate, or passive. Passive is mostly bonds. Bonds and CDs are passive. But CDs don't move. CDs have a fixed rate for a limited amount of time. Bonds, may move a little bit, but when you're talking about the stocks move because this makes the stocks aggressive, and this is why they say that you can lose some of your principal if you go into the stock market. So let's just say that you look up a company called ABC Company. Boom, ABC Company has stocks for $50, $50, and you see that the company is growing. You're like, boom, I'm in. I'm going to get ABC Company. You buy yourself, $500 worth of ABC Company. Boom, ABC is doing good for about a month and a half. Next thing you know, the stock drops about down from the shares go from $50, they go up to $60, and then boom, they drop down to $30. So $50, $60, 10%, or not 10%. Well, is that a 10% gain? Anyways, they go up to $60 and then they drop down 20% of what is not 20%, 20% of what you purchased it at. You just lost, you won, and then you just lost some money. This happens all the time in the stock market. Now you have to choose whether you're going to pull out and move some money around. If you do, that's going to cost you. And/or you instead of doing it that way, you can actually have investors control your money, but you pick the stock. So if you go to BlackRock, BlackRock are investors, and you pay them to control your mutual fund. So BlackRock will say, all right, we deal with loaded funds when it comes to mutual funds. So let's just say you want to try to beat the S&P. Well, the S&P stands for Standard and Poor, the S&P 500 or the S&P 100 or the Dow 30. But let's just say you want to beat the S&P. Well, within the last, 50, 60 years, the S&P has averaged 10% gains. So you're like, I think I can beat that. I want to get to, 11 or 12% gains on an average. Because sometimes I could shoot up to 30%. But on an average, so you want to beat the S&P. You have the money to do it. You put some of your stimulus check into the S&P or into a mutual fund that you think will beat the S&P, which means your advisor picks stocks that are beating the S&P. Okay, this is not you picking random stocks. This is either you or your advisor picking stocks, is your advisor pretty much picking stocks that will beat the S&P, meaning they have a history of beating the S&P. How do you know this? Because you look it up on Google and it'll tell you, what stocks are beating the S&P. Who are those stocks? What mutual funds are beating the S&P? Mutual funds are a collection of stocks and bonds. Okay, it's a collection of both. So if you're looking at being an aggressive investor, you go to somebody like BlackRock or Morgan Stanley Chase or one of them. You say, hey, Morgan Stanley, you guys have been doing a good job in beating the S&P. You guys know what you're doing. I want your expertise. You can pay them for that. So they'll say, open an account with us, put checking or savings. This money is where they will pull money from, or you can pull money from and put it into a separate account where your mutual funds are. It could be your Roth IRA, but you don't really play with your Roth IRA that much, even though you can. Or you can have a fund where you have your mutual, or have an account where you have your mutual funds, where you go in there and buy and trade, and you do all your other things to it. All right, so so let's just say you and your advisor agree on particular stocks. One stock I looked up today, just by putting in ticker numbers, it was called Trek. So I looked at the company. I was like, okay, what does Trek do? Well, Trek is a company that deals with wood. They make products out of, I think, like fake wood or faux wood, and pretty much one of these earth-saving type of people. but their numbers have gone just like this. Their for their stock is $104. So I'm like, you know, I could see myself putting that into my IRA. I'm not going to touch it if they're going like this. I'll buy $300-400 worth of it. Boom, put in my Roth IRA. If they're going up, I'm going to continue to get benefits from it until it starts to sink, and then I'll go in and either keep it or trade it for a different stock. So let's just say that you do get a mutual fund and you want somebody to help manage your fund. You have to pay them for that, and there are several ways that they're going to ask money. On average, if it's a loaded fund, they're going to say this is going to cost you this is going to cost you 0.035% of whatever you put into it every time you put it into it. So if you have $1,000 and you put in $1,000 into a mutual fund, which is, once again, it's a bunch of stocks and bonds, but if it's aggressive, it's a bunch of stocks, and you put $1,000 into it, they're going to take 0.035% of that out of your for their payment. So $35, no big deal. Now, let's just say that it grows and you want to put more money into it. Every time you put more money into it, they get 0.035% out of it. So let's just say you want to put $10,000 into it. Well, they're going to get the same amount, 0.035%, and in some cases it's 0.05%. So you got to watch out, because you're going to have to pay that up front. Now, that might not be a bad thing, because you're probably paying somebody who's been beating the S&P. The reason why that is important is because if they're beating the S&P by by a significant amount, you're still receiving enough money that is still paying for the cost of you having that mutual fund. But let's say you go to another company and they say, we have no loaded funds whatsoever. You can just come here, drop your money off, we'll manage your money for you. You're like, A-okay, it's not going to cost me. However, however, they get you on the back end. So one style gets you on the front end where it costs you. Another style gets you on the back end. And I forgot the percentage that it costs, but it can be pretty damn costly depending on how much money that you have in there. So that's how they make their money. It's either a loaded fund or either a no loaded fund. And both of them you're going to run into either one or the other. So you really have to ask the company, what's it going to cost for you to manage my $1,400? Now, another reason why this is very important for you people who are investing your stimulus check, and especially if you're investing it aggressively because the stock market is going up, because of all the stimulation that we have. If you're following the government, which everybody should be, and you're listening to what the government is doing, yo, what up with you, Mike? And you're listening to what the government is doing, the government might issue another stimulus check of $2,000. Okay? Now, understand this. The government issues another stimulus check of $2,000. What is that going to do to the economy? What are they telling us to do? Stimulate the economy, which means people are going to go out and start buying things, which means the stocks are going to do what? Go up. This is why I'm investing and not saving my stimulus check. Okay? Yo, gonna get the, not at this point. And I did see your other comment about how you got it and you had mild symptoms. So this is why I think that if you put your money into the stock market, but you don't have to get aggressive stocks, you can get passive stocks where the risk is lower. Everything still has a risk, not passive stocks, but bonds. You can get bonds, and where the risk is lower. I got Moderna. Okay, cool. You feel good? All right. So yeah, you can get invest passively. So yeah, now uh, that's all right, man. That's all right. Now, some people were discussing apps and how apps allow you to invest your stocks or invest and get stocks easier. Now, here's one issue I ran into today, actually. So I went onto my Cash App, which is already linked to a bank account. I said, okay, I'm going to start buying stocks. I went, and it's very easy to do. Uh, Yeah, somebody else was talking about that too. So I'm interested in buying Bitcoin also, and the price of Bitcoin. Okay, so and getting paid in Bitcoin also. If you do a job, get paid in Bitcoin. But nonetheless, so I said, okay, I'm gonna buy some stocks. I looked at the stocks that I've already researched. Bitcoin is 61K. I looked at the stocks that I already researched, and I've been doing this for a couple weeks now. Getting a lot of information and answers. And I looked at these stocks that they present to you: Apple, McDonald's, AT&T, yada yada yada, GE. I actually bought some GE stocks, and GE stocks have fallen, but they pay dividends. So so as an investor, you have different angles of how you want to invest. Like I said, there's passive, there's mild, and then there's aggressive. Also, what exactly are you trying to do? Are you trying to save for the long run? Invest for the long run? If you do, you're probably not going to be that aggressive. But if you're younger and you want to take a chance and you already have a good amount of money saved up, so you just want to take a chance with this money and stimulate the economy, you're probably going to be more aggressive. You think, I might get some money off the stock market, and it's possibly that you might. So you're like, I'm going to go. McDonald's is good too, Tone. They're killing us with the fast food. Yeah, they are. I have to stop eating it. But nonetheless, so what you're doing is you're going, okay, either I want to be passive or aggressive. If you're older like myself, I'm 53. I put most of my money into passive investments. Nonetheless, I still have $500 that I play with in aggressive stocks. So that's all going to the stock market. And another thing, what stocks are you picking? Are you picking stocks so you can take the dividend and have the dividend just roll over and stay in the stock? Like, you don't want to take that money and then have that money go into your a savings account and then hold it. No, you're trying to build that. I mean, if that's what you're doing, that's one way. Another is saving the money that comes off the dividend. In other words, living off the dividend. Now, there are a lot of people who live off the dividend because dividends pay a certain percentage. But understand this: dividends do not have to be paid to you whatsoever. So when it comes to Tesla is one of the biggest stocks out there I've seen so far. It's the biggest one I've seen so far. It's $739.78, and they do not pay dividends. There's no dividends. You're going to find out that there are a lot of tech companies that do not pay dividends. There are a lot of growing companies and startup companies. They do not pay dividends. Nonetheless, their stock is going up, so you're earning more and more money from them. So once again, it depends on how you want to invest. I'm new at this, but what I do know is I want dividends. So I want to eventually live off the dividends. Now, when it comes to you have to be rich to live, no, you don't. No, you do not. No, you don't. And when I say live off the dividends, there are different, according to, what your income is and your perspective off of living. Now, you're talking about living totally off of dividends, but you still don't have to be a millionaire and billionaire to do that. I mean, you could be in the good, 100, 200,000. Okay, so I looked up a stock and was looking at the dividends and calculated that it would cost me $120,000 to live completely off the dividends, which means it covers all of my fixed costs. Here I am back on fixed costs again. It's a very important term. That covers all of my fixed costs. So you have to remember, you guys, when you're buying stock and you're trying to live off the dividend, look at what it costs you on a monthly basis just to survive. Now, I'm not talking about going and eating out. I'm not talking about spending money on your girlfriend, guy friends. I'm talking about what does it cost to pay your significant bills. And then you calculate that, whether it's $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, and feed your kids, all this. I'm not talking about anything extra. Going to Disney World, nothing. I'm talking about simply what is your fixed cost. When you get that calculation down, and you should have it in your head somewhere, it should be written down somewhere where it's a constant reminder of this is how much it costs me. Because you're gonna have to you're gonna have a few things based off that number. If it's $1,500, you need to look at your savings account and your piggy bank and say, do I have twice this much in my bank account, or in my savings account, or in my backyard up under something? Do I have access to $3,000 that I can get to immediately in case of emergency? Do I? If you don't have that money, you should hang on to your stimulus check. Hang on to it until you get that money, and then anything after that, you should start investing. But you should always have a rainy day fund where you can get it immediately and pay something off. Not true. Okay, so what is not true? Oh, the millionaire billionaire part? Yeah, the millionaire billionaire part. You do not have to be a millionaire to live off of your dividends. Like I said, I did a calculation, and for me, I need to. You don't have to. You don't have to be rich. For me, I would have to be in the $120,000 range, and then that depends on what dividend pays out what, because you have an O'Leary fund that pays out 8% in dividends. You have 3M, they pay out 3.3% dividends. You got Netflix, they pay out 1.2% dividends. You got AT&T, they pay out 3.9% dividends. And so when I saw this, I went and bought, thank you very much. I went and bought AT&T. So I bought AT&T, and I might buy more at AT&T, even though I know AT&T stocks have gone down. But you see what the purpose is. The stocks have gone down, but if they're still paying dividends when the stocks are going, it depends on how far AT&T is not going out of business. Okay, it's not going out of business. All right, it's going to be there. It's a staple. Okay, so the stocks are going down. All right, boom. Now you got to look at what's going on in the economy. Why are stocks dropping? Well, there might be there might be a particular branch of AT&T that is causing the stocks to fall right now. But what's coming up pretty soon? Everybody knows that 5G is pretty much here. So this is why people are looking at communication companies like, wait a minute, everybody's on 5G. What else are we going to be doing with 5G? So when 20K, that's still poverty, bro. Most dividends are okay. You guys are having a whole conversation. I'll read that in a minute. But nonetheless, so you guys see what I mean. If it's still paying me off dividends, if the dividends are paying me more than the loss, then I'm going to take it. So what I did was I bought I bought 2 shares of AT&T. I just want to see what happens. I bought a couple shares of Coca-Cola. We know Coca-Cola is not going anywhere. I've already got a message about Coca-Cola already. So, you know what I'm saying? Because they pay dividends. But like I said, if Coca-Cola stocks go down, I know they're going to go back up. We all know this. Coca-Cola's probably gone down who knows why. You can investigate the company yourself and say, why is Coca-Cola stocks going down? It's going to be readily accessible for you, and you can read about it. This way you'll know if there's an upturn coming, and most likely there's an upturn coming. Why did Coca-Cola stocks go down? Well, people aren't having picnics anymore. Ballparks. I mean, just think about this. Sports arenas. There's no one at the sports arenas. And I mean, you may have listen, the last baseball game that I glanced upon had, was it 20,000 people, or football game? It was 20,000 people were allowed in a football game. How many people how many people does a stadium, one of these new stadiums or any stadium, how many people do they hold? I mean, 100,000 or so. I mean, how many people can fit in one of these stadiums? It's got to be 300,000 people in one of these stadiums, right? And I mean, they know what they're doing when they pack these people in. So Coca-Cola's going down because nobody's at these stadiums. So what's going to happen when the world opens back up, which is pretty much happening right now? All that stuff is going to go sky high. It's going to shoot right through the roof. So now their stocks is at a low point, and I'm just like, I'm in. I can afford that. What, is $34 a stock? Give me 4 or 5 stocks. Give me 6, 7 stocks. And every time I go out and get a little extra money, if I got $34 that I'm not putting into a savings account, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it into my Coca-Cola stocks because I know that they're gonna go up. So that's what I'm saying, you guys. Telling AT&T pays 7%. AT&T, well, it says 6% here, but that's fine. 7%. Okay, 7. See, you're looking on the Cash App right now. You're following me and looking on the Cash App, but understand, when I wrote this stuff down, I wrote it down yesterday. So what does that illustrate? It illustrates that it's not only is it going up, but it fluctuates. So like I said, if you're going to get into the stock market, if you're going to just do stocks are aggressive. They fluctuate up and down. You're not living off of 8,400 a year. Oh, you're once again talking to. You guys are having a conversation. Well, okay. So let's get back to that. How much money can you live off of? Okay, so if I'm okay, so understand this. When you're making money off the stock market in dividends, we're talking about dividends. This means that your stock is going either up or down, but the company is still paying you dividends. And usually these are larger companies. These are not smaller startups or anything like that. These are larger companies that are paying you dividends. So if you're living off of the dividends, that is a passive income. Your passive income can be a number of items that all collectively equal one large number. So to say that somebody is not living off of 8,400 a year, that is completely not true. You can live off of 8,400 a year if that's one of your passive income. That is the allotment of one of your passive incomes, because you can throw different passive incomes together and not go to work at all. YouTube is one of them. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys what I make on YouTube. I make every 3 months I get $100 off YouTube. I don't make any, like, I'm not a YouTube king at all. I don't ask you guys for money, although I do appreciate it. But I make that simply off of the algorithm. I don't make that off of you guys paying me, because you guys don't pay me for the information that I give you. I simply just give you information, all right? Nonetheless, there are people who are YouTube giants off of the algorithm and off of people actually paying them, and off of commercials and off of all this stuff. I don't do any of that. I don't have none of that going on, except for the like button. And this is why people are always telling you, push the like button, push the like button. I don't tell you that because because I'm my own algorithm. If I look at my numbers, which I do every day, and I look at a video that you guys don't watch, there's a good chance I don't make that video unless I'm bored. This is why I make those videos where I'm making beats. I'm bored. And I feel like sharing music, so I make music. There's usually one person that's watching me. I think it's my dad. Okay, so nobody watches me make those videos, but I don't do it for people to watch me. I do it because I like making music, and I can come back to that music. All right, it helps me find the song that I made. So you cannot live off of dividends with 120. Yes, I can. But like I said, it's passive. Well, how can you tell me that I can't? You can live off of dividends with 120,000. Yes, you can. Tone, I'm basing my statement off of dividends. Okay, so we would have to. All right, let me look at this. 120K times 0.7% per year. You're not living. Okay, so once again, I'm talking about passive income. Okay, so there can be a collection of passive incomes that you have. I got what I I have music on the internet. Every now and then they pay me a couple pennies. I get like $10 every 3 months off of that passive income. You know what I mean? So you guys need to understand it doesn't have to be solid paying your rent, everything, but nonetheless, collectively you can live off of it. And I disagree with your assessment. Okay, so let's take rent. Okay, since you want to be the numbers guy, that's fine. I like it. Let's take rent. Let's say your rent was $700 a month, right? So you take your rent. I hope you're writing this down. You take your rent, that's $700 a month, and then you get all your other fixed costs. And let's say that all your other fixed costs that doesn't vacillate comes to about $1,200 a month. So you take that and then you times that by, what is it? You times that by 12, 144. So it's 10,101. Okay, so if I had $8,000, 8,400 coming off of just one entity, one piece of my fixed, that pays the majority of my fixed cost. You understand what I'm saying now? That pays the majority of my fixed cost right there. You can go and pretty much cut grass and make up the rest of it. So that's what I'm saying. You don't. Everything doesn't have to come from the stock market, but nonetheless, my brother is a financial advisor. Well, good for your brother, but you can be your own. You can do your own calculations on what you personally would need to live off of, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So 120K for me. And but another thing is you calculated 0.7%. I'm gonna bring this up one more time. There is a fund on here, an O'Leary fund, that is 8%. I mean, there are different. I mean, 3M is 3.3%. So, I mean, if you plugged in Netflix is 1.2%. So if you plugged in 1.2%, 8%, 3.3%, just one of those, that number changes. That number changes in a large amount. You have AT&T pays 3.9%. So to tell me that I couldn't live off of 120 when there are, I could get, what I'm saying, I could get 120K in AT&T stocks and be living just fine. Yeah, you're calculating just, 0.07%, and that isn't even the largest one of the funds that I've been talking about. You put the calculation in on some of those, and you're going to see that number's going to jump, but I'm glad you did that because I would love to have another $8,400 coming in, you know what I'm saying? But I don't have 120K. You need at least 120. Okay, well, but you still get the concept. Now, if you calculated, okay, you need 125K. If you calculated 3.9% with your 125K, you calculate that, you tell me that you couldn't live off of that. Yeah, you can. You don't need to be the whole point in the conversation is you do not need to be a millionaire. And 120K in stocks is definitely doable to somebody who's making progress. Remember, this doesn't have to be overnight. Not to mention, If you're making the right investments, whether passive, moderately, or aggressive, how am I confused? Help me out because I'm new to this. So you tell me how I'm confused. How did you do your calculations? Let's see how you do your calculations. I'm going to go off of your logic. Okay, let's go off of your logic. Because if I'm wrong, I want to stop what I'm doing right now, correct myself, get on the right page. And I don't mind being wrong. I don't mind that at all. All right, so let's take 120K. We go 120 times 0.3, nope, times, that's wrong, times 3.9. This is the largest one I've seen, 3.9. This is AT&T stock. By the way, AT&T stock does not cost that much. Okay, so I don't know what you see there, but you look at that number. You look at that number. You look at that number. All right, so maybe I did that wrong. Let me look at it again. Times, okay, you use 0.07. I use 3.9. AT&T stock is 3.9. By your calculations. You can't tell me you can't live off of this. All right? So let's do another calculation. We'll take 8%. So 0.8, just 0.8%. $96,000 or $960,000. You tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. That's 8%. Tell me how I'm calculating this wrong. All right? I'm gonna do it again. Maybe because in other words, it's almost $10,000. 120,000. Because I had an extra zero in there. And we're gonna go times 0.9. Okay. If we did 0.9%, no, we'll go back. I'm gonna do 0.8. 0.8%, 96K. That's what it equals. It equals 96K. All right? It's almost $10,000. Okay? Now we're going to do what AT&T stock is paying. 0.39%. Equal 468K. If you get the right stock, people, you're doing good. And this is how a lot of people live. So you don't need to be a millionaire in order. So once again, 120K. This is what I'm saying. If you had this much in stocks, 120K in stocks, and you took one of these dividends times one of these dividends that I've been writing down, We'll take Netflix, 1.2% times 1.2% equals 144K. Now, somebody can stop me and tell me I'm doing this wrong. Please stop me. Times. Yeah, and Netflix is middle of the road, 1.2%. You see what I mean? You can, you get $1,000, you get 100K. Now, like I said, I don't have 120 grand. I don't have nowhere near that. But my robo account is already making money. Now, I haven't made a lot. I made like $3 off of it, but I opened it up a couple days ago. Well, I opened it up last week, and it started trading about 3 days ago. So I'm up $3 already. I'm up almost, I think, $3.87, something like that. So I'm up $3 already in a couple days. I mean, if it stayed like that on average, and mind you, that's moderate. That account is moderate because I don't want to lose, even though you can lose 20% of your principal, I don't want to take a big chance with that. Now, so the stocks that, and it's a fund that I don't mess with. I don't know what funds they picked. This is the bank doing all the investing. They took my $525. Now, mind you, it's $525. They took and they put it in the different funds. And for the last 2 days, I've already been getting a return. It's not rocket science. I've already been getting a return. I got a $3.87 return within the last 2 days. Off of $525. And these are funds, I don't know what funds that they invested in. This is a robo account, which I pay them to manage. But I don't know what's in it. I don't need to touch it. I don't need to do anything. Whether it goes down or up, I don't need to do anything, not unless I want to put more money into it. And when I saw that it jumped $2.22, I was like, I'm in, let's go. So I put another $500 into it. Mind you, this is my stimulus check money. So I have $1,025 into a robo account. And that other $500 hasn't even been traded yet. The thing about these accounts is when you put money into it, it takes a day. And sometimes 2 days for the money. It'll show that the money's being transacted, that the money's going into it, right? Then it'll take at least 2 days before they actually trade this money. So you're not going to see the result in it like the next business day. You got to wait like 2 or 3 business days, and then you'll start seeing the result of it. So I figure if I made, $3.87 off of $500 within a couple days, if I throw another $500 in it, with my limited understanding of it, heck, I might come out with almost a $6-7 return in just a couple days. And then when you start averaging that out and saying, okay, well, it's not always going to be $3.50 or whatever. Let me just go ahead and pick a median amount and pick an average and say, okay, well, let me go $2.20. And when you start calculating that every day, you start, it's guesswork, but nonetheless, these are the guys who know what they're doing. That's why I chose them. That's why I chose a robo account, because they know more than I do. So if you took $2.20, put a decimal there, $2.20, and you times that by, you can't say 365 days because the stock market does not trade 365 days. It trades, only, and then you have to take out the weekends. I don't know what days it does not trade other than the weekends and holidays, so on and so forth. So, but we'll just say 7 days a week. So we'll just go times 7 and, nope, you can't say 7. So we'll go times 5 and then times 4. Times 5 and then times 4. That would get, okay. Yep. Out of the week. Okay. So, boom, that equals 44, right? So, in a month, on average, I'm getting $44. That's in a month, on average. Then you took that times 12, right? Not including holidays. So in a year, I'd be looking at, this is an average. In a year, I'd be looking at $528. And that's with $2.20, which means it's the average. You'd be looking at $500, $528 in a year. Let's just say that I kept it in there for the next 5 years. 2,640, next 10 years. $5,280. You guys probably had money sitting in the account at least for 5 years. It's a good chance that you guys had $1,000 sitting in your account for 5 years. It's a good chance you have. If you took that $1,000, put it into a robo account, and waited for the next 5 years or the next 10 years, you would have $5,280 more. That's what I'm getting at. And this is a robo account, meaning you don't even touch it. You don't even touch it. Starts off, the one I picked starts off with a limit of $500. Heck, the stimulus check gave me that. So I just put it into a robo account. Hey, $500, fine, here you go. It's not money that I earned. Fine, here you go, the government gave it to me. And then the government is talking about giving us $2,000 on our next stimulus check. What do you think I'm going to do with that money? I'm not going to go out and buy a vehicle or do anything because I don't need it. I have all my bases covered. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in crazy debt. I'm not going to go and do none of that. I'm going to stimulate the economy. I'm going to take that money, and I'm already making $2.20 a day. That's just guesstimation, man. Actually, it's more than that. But on my robo account, so what am I going to do with the next $2,000? And if you're a veteran and on disability, I think they're actually going to send you more money. Like, they're serious. I mean, when Joe Biden passes this new stimulus bill that he's about to put out, listen, they're going to be sending you $2,000 every month. But there's going to be a limited amount of people who's going to get that. So that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. If you don't need your stimulus check, put it into something that's going to make money. Put it into a low-risk robo account. Put it into a low-risk mutual fund where you're at least getting $2 off of it. And listen, that's just $500. If, you know what I'm saying, I didn't even calculate the other $500 I put into it. So if I doubled this, that's $10,000 in 10 years. It's going to be over that, actually. And if I took the higher rate, which is $3.80, I mean, that number is just going to go. That's what I'm saying. And this is not money I'm working for. So when people come on and they have a bunch of information and they, tell me I'm wrong about stuff, I don't mind that. But don't get the point diluted. The point is, I'm just like you. I'm poorer than a lot of you. I don't have a basic job. You know what I'm saying? But What I do is I save my money, and I'm very, very, very serious about it. Yeah, he really did. He really did say I was confused. But I'm not going to cook him because I wanted him to make his point. Because listen, this is a new avenue for me. So for somebody to say I don't know what I'm talking about, I am totally okay with that as long as you're respectful. And as long as you clear up what you're saying. So I don't mind somebody saying I don't know what I'm talking about. But you have to understand, I'm not somebody who's talking about investing. I'm someone who just started investing, and I've made those phone calls. I've talked to several bankers. I've talked to bankers who only deal with people who make $250,000. Bankers who only deal with people who make $1,000 and had them on the phone for half an hour, 45 minutes. Heck, I got their phone numbers. You're not talking to somebody who just went and got an app and then started messing with an app just to know. I got notes here. I got notes on top of notes on top of notes. I mean, I'm sitting here doing my homework, writing this stuff down, Bitcoin, and all these apps that are coming out, who I want to pick, who I don't want to pick. And I'm regurgitating this information to you. And some of you may not know this information. Some of you are going to take your money and blow it because you think the government wants you to. You actually think you're being patriotic by spending your money. But you're not. You're not. That's not the move. Because once you spend that money, it's just gone. I'm telling you, if you want to stimulate the economy, put your money into a fund, a mutual fund. And if you're a little nervous about the whole thing, you don't know how to do it, put it into a robo account, just like I did. Because I don't know what I'm doing. But every day I wake up, I get on this phone right here early in the morning. I start off at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going at it. I'm either listening to something on YouTube about it, I'm reading something about it, I'm researching, and I do this every day. And I already know I caught the bug because I'm in it. I listen to what's that one guy who talks about funds all the time? Actually, I listen to a couple people. There's a black guy I listen to. He's a real young guy. He's, he gives you a lot of good advice. I listen and I mean, he's real enthusiastic about it. And there's another dude. He's an Indian guy with the turban thing on. I listen to some of his videos too. They're a little long, but I listen to some of his videos. So I listen to an assortment of people, not just Dave Ramsey. Matter of fact, I probably listen to Dave the least. But nonetheless, I hold on to a lot of information that he gives, especially when he starts talking about the numbers. And then I look those numbers up to see if they're correct. Then I'm going, okay, well, and then I make a phone call to a banker. And then the bankers will go, yes, this is correct, this is not correct, this, and this. And I take that information, and then I go and start disseminating that information to you guys and saying, this is what I did, and this is the result of what I did. This is how it works. You understand what I mean? I'm not going, you could try this, but I don't know if it works. I'm going, I tried this, and it's working. I put my money that we all got money. We all just got money. So I put my money, you know what I'm saying? It's not being braggadocio. We all just got $1,400. It's not like I'm going, yeah, I went out and made $1,400. No, we all got $1,400. I put my $1,400 back into the economy. But I split it up. I got a Roth IRA. I got a robo account, and I started picking stocks off of one of my apps. Okay, and I got a aggressive fund with through Acorn. So I put $45 into Acorn. I already have a return. I'll show you guys that. I look at Acorn every morning, even on the weekends. Why? Because I got a return. If I didn't get a return off of Acorn, I wouldn't be messing with it. But I got a return on it, so I'm just like, oh, let's go. How much did I get? Off of 45 bucks, I got a return already. That's another thing. When somebody, see, a lot of these people are real smart when it comes to numbers, and they've been in it for a minute, right? So when somebody like me comes along and starts learning about it, it's easy to get overshadowed by all these smart people. When you talk to a lot of these bankers, they talk to you in a very dry voice. Yes, and then you have to take blah, 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 blah. It's almost no emotion. These guys dealing with numbers all the time. They don't really have an emotional attachment to it. Okay, so just with $45, I made 79 cents on Acorn within the last couple days. 79 cents. And this goes up every day. Now, what I did once I saw that I made 79 cents, I went ahead and put another $100 into my Acorn account. This is this is an aggressive account. So I know that I could lose my $145. I can lose the principal because I put that $145 in its pure stocks. So I already know that I can lose. But right now I'm winning. Now I could change my Acorn account to moderate or just pure passive, which means they're just going to do bonds. And if you go moderate, it's going to do stocks and bonds. But I chose to make it aggressive. So I'm like, you know what? Put it on a stock you think that's just going to go sky high. If I lose the $145, what did I do? I learned something. I lost $145. It isn't going to kill me because the government gave it to me. You know what I mean? It's not going to kill me. Government gave it to me. Okay, fine. So now my bank actually, stopped the other app I'm using because I bought $250 worth of stock, and my bank actually stopped it because what I did was I bought another $250, so I went over my bank limit. So when the bank sees an app drawing money from your account, they'll stop it, and then they'll call you and say, okay, are you aware this is happening? You go, yes, I'm buying stock. So they can see, so they'll see that I'm buying stock with it. You know what I mean? And because they've already taken money out of my account, but they only allow so much before they're like, okay, something's up. Let's ask the customer. And then once I go, yeah, I'm buying stock. Now this is on my Cash App. So this morning I tried to buy $500 worth of stock, but I've only was able to get $250 worth of stock. And I've already got a message about that, and the stock market's not even open. I'm trying to tell you guys that if I'm sitting here doing it, this old man sitting here doing it, learning about it, and I'm obviously making money. You know what I'm saying? I'm making money off of this. It's not a lot of money, but like I said, it depends on how you want to invest. If you're investing to retire, choose an IRA. Put $7,000 into your IRA. You know what I'm saying? Or choose a robo account and make it a passive robo account. Choose a mutual fund. Make it a passive mutual fund. You know what I'm saying? And just let it sit there and do what it's going to do. What do we know about that? We know that you're at least going to get 10%. See, I'm already getting more than 10% of what I'm putting into. If I just do the calculations on what I'm getting already, I know I'm already beating the S&P. But even if you don't, you're at least going to get 10% off of the S&P 500. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Listen. You can I say this all the time. Your savings account is costing you money. How many of you go to the how many of you use the ATM at your bank account only? And if you don't, how much does it cost you to use another bank's ATM? Just imagine this. If your bank, for one, your bank is not everywhere. Let's just say that you guys go to work and your bank is nowhere near there, but there's another bank there and you need money. If you've done that once this month, your savings account just cost you money. Why? Because I know that your savings account is only giving you a 0.002% yield. You don't believe me? Look it up. Look up your bank. Call them. Ask them. Your savings account is giving you a 0.002% yield. Now, if you want to do better than that, but you don't want to take a chance, get a CD. Your bank is going to offer you a CD for a year, 2 years, maybe 9 months, sometimes 6 months. But the longer the term is, the more percentage, the higher percentage it is. So your savings is giving you 0.002%. You're not getting anything. Matter of fact, and your bank costs you in order to use that account. You're getting charged, regardless if you go to ATM or not. You're getting charged to use that bank account. You're getting charged. You'll see it on your bank statement. Pull your bank statement out. You're getting charged every month to use that bank. That's how they make their money. I'm just telling you guys. Take what you don't need, put it into a CD if you don't want to take a risk. Get yourself a CD. Put it into a CD for a year. Probably get what? 2-3%. Excuse me, 0.2, 0.3. You put it in there longer, you get 0.4. Heck, there's some CDs now that are out at 0.7. 0.7%. Excuse me, 0.07%. Don't forget that zero. At any rate, so I just want to talk about that because I'm not a millionaire, but things are looking good. I'm stimulating the economy. I've already gotten a return within a day on 2 of my accounts, and my Roth IRA has not yielded a return because I did not choose any stocks for it. So I'm probably not going to choose a stock for it. I'm probably going to choose a mutual fund because I can't touch it for 5 years. Well, no, that's not true. Hold on, I'll be right back. Tell you exactly what I'm going to do with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do with my mutual fund, I'm going to add more money to it. I'm probably going to add about $200 to it. Maybe more than that. 200. I'm going to add 210 to it. I'm going to make it a solid $500. And I'm going to put 1 Apple stock in there. I'm going to buy 1 Apple stock. That Apple stock is going to cost me $134. So I'm going to buy an Apple stock. I'm going to buy I don't know. Netflix stocks are just ridiculous. Let me see how much Netflix stocks are. I know they're high. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not buying Netflix stock. Even though they do pay, woo, man, woo. Okay, Netflix stocks pays a Netflix stocks is $546.54. It's down 0.49%, not a big deal. Well, that kind of is a big deal. It kind of is a big deal. I think Netflix is actually going to go down further. I do, because of what they did less than a year ago. I think they made a mistake, big mistake less than a year ago. But Netflix pays 3.9% in dividends. Woo! That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So Netflix, what they did, and I think they lost, well, they definitely lost me, when they tried to bring that French movie on with the kids, and they had the little girl dancing very, suggestively, and, next thing you know, the government made sure that they pulled that movie. It was called Cuties. And it was bad. It was bad. And the original movie wasn't even like that. They changed the whole. Netflix is on some evil stuff, man. I don't trust Netflix. I don't trust them at all. They're doing a lot of very, very. They're just doing bad stuff. Even though their dividend pays good, but I think that's one reason why their stocks are down, but it's only down 0.49%. Being that everybody was locked in the house, like literally, of course everybody was Netflixing, so that made it go up. But we're not quarantined as much anymore, so that's going to go down. And this is one reason why I'm very much interested in Coca-Cola. I bought some Coca-Cola stocks this morning. I'm going to buy more Coca-Cola stock. I'm going to buy more Coca-Colas. I'm going to buy more Pepsi. I'm going to buy anything that I think is recreational. I'm going to get into those stocks because they're all low right now. They're very, very affordable. And I think those people are going to find a way to bounce back. And, the economy is going to bounce back. And I think that recreation is going to start up again because these are trillion-dollar businesses. And these guys are not going to let this go. They're not going to let football go. They're not going to do that. Football's still going to be played. They're not going to let the NBA go and stuff like that, even though it's not as big as audience. Nah. They don't care about people dying. They're not going to let that go. There's too much money. They're going to find a way. So anything that's recreational, I'm very interested in right now because I think at one point, especially now that the numbers are low, you can get in on some of these stocks for $30. $30 you can get in on some of these recreational stocks. Another thing is tech stocks, but tech stocks do not pay you dividends. So, once again, all depends on how you want to invest. You guys are looking at dividends. Look at companies that pay you good at dividends. But if you're just looking at investing in the company, study the company. anyways, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and be out. Thanks for stopping by. It's your boy Tone 202. God loves you, and so do I. Peace.